For over 2 decades, Honda performance enthusiasts in the U.S. looked longingly across the seas at forbidden fruit, the Civic Type R. These pocket rockets strafed streets in Japan, Europe, Australia, heck, even Malaysia, while the hottest Civic we got was the SI, and some years, not even that. The 5th generation rights that wrong. If you have $35,000 and a dealership that's not charging $5,000 for floor mats, the Type R and its extroverted look can now be yours, America. Perhaps you've noticed the rear wing. Honda claims it's fully functional at all speeds, providing 66 pounds of downforce at 124 miles an hour. Something to think about next time you're driving that fast. Honda claims a top speed of 169 miles an hour. R stands for racing, and this hot hatch set a front-wheel drive record on Germany's famed Nürburgring with a lap time of 7 minutes and 43.8 seconds. Yes, this car is front-wheel drive, unlike the all-wheel drive Ford Focus RS, Subaru WRX STI, and Volkswagen Golf R. Let's talk about torque steer. That's the tugging of the steering wheel that often happens when you launch a powerful front-wheel drive car hard. There's little to none in the Type R. A helical limited slip differential and dual-axis front strut suspension keeps the R buttoned down. The power band is very usable. Unlike VTECs of the past, this turbo engine has loads of low-end torque. It's great for passing on country roads. Let's talk more about that 4-cylinder. Honda engineers have wrung 306 horsepower out of the turbocharged 2-liter. The torque rating is 295 pound-feet from 2,500 to 4,500 RPM. It's not just the wing that defines the Type R's rump. Honda says the center exhaust pipe is functional, a resonator that offers a little extra snarl when the throttle's punched. It never gets overly dramatic, though. There are reasons to like a snappy dual-clutch automatic, but Type R's only gearbox is a 6-speed manual with terrific action. Visually setting the car apart from the SI is, well, the wing, of course. Type R is strictly a hatchback. The seats are as awesome as they look. There are functional aero aids all over the car, including air curtain and brake cooling vents up front. The slot in the aluminum hood is functional. Enthusiasts can keep track of lap times and G-forces when romping around their favorite twisty tracks. This car is shod with summer performance tires. The road, a little damp with wet leaves. That's a bit like driving on ice sometimes. Not a perfect combination. 0 to 60 miles an hour happens in about 5 seconds. It actually feels faster. Clutch take-up is just right. The short throws of the manual transmission are snickety-snick crisp. There's rev-matching downshifts. Steering weight is nice and hefty. On-center feel is locked down. Everything you'd want in a car like this. And it's moderately quiet inside since there's an acoustical glass windshield and triple sealed doors. This is the part of the review where I should be saying the ride is punishing because of the low-profile tires and suspension that is substantially stiffer than a standard Honda Civic. But this car is actually fairly comfortable. Seriously. And I'm in the most aggressive of the 3 adaptive damper modes, plus R. Comfort allows for more suspension travel. It helps that the Type R rides on the 10th generation Civic chassis structure that's 38% more rigid than Generation 9. Some will criticize that Honda isn't winging it with rear or all-wheel drive. I suggest experiencing it first. Pushed hard into corners, Type R's behavior is very neutral, offering boatloads of confidence. Yes, this car is front-wheel drive, but it is a blast drive. One thing I will say about the wing from the driver's seat, you can't see it. You really can't see it. Fuel economy? Well, it isn't nearly as lofty as a standard grade Civic, especially if you're driving the R in the way it's intended. I averaged 21 miles per gallon on specified premium, no surprise there. Brembo brakes up front with 4 calipers. Scrub off speed impressively. This is what you're facing while partying on winding roads. Dressed up with red accents, the ambience is right, though for the best cabin materials, head on over to Volkswagen. Clearly, the carbon fiber and stitching are faux, and I'll gripe that a volume knob hasn't quite made it to all Hondas yet. Like all Civic interiors, there are good options for storing things away. The seats, with their grippy fabric and deep bolsters, deserve a second mention. They're very supportive in hard maneuvers. Big drivers should check them out first, though. While this feels great in hand, the metal stays cold on chilly days. Civic's user interface is fine and fairly easy to navigate. I mostly used its standard Apple CarPlay. Android Auto is also along for the ride. And though the wing doesn't hamper rearward visibility, cameras are always handy. I'm 5'9" and have the seat adjusted for a comfortable driving position. Good thing I have an evil twin to assess the back seat. I've always thought a little bit of evil in this world is worthwhile, but maybe I'm biased. Head, knee, leg, and foot room are all generous for a car this size, but there's no storage on the backs of the seats, no power ports to charge my phone either. Door pockets? At least those are there. Two of me won't complain back here, and that's all there's room for, plus drinks and snacks. Type R is one of the few vehicles where I can use the line, it hauls asphalt and hauls cargo because it's a useful hatchback. If you just don't like the direction the security shade retracts, it can be reversed or simply removed. Just like any hatch, the seats split and fold, but this car will make you very popular, so I'll be doing the trunk test with the back seats usable. And as expected, it scores the same as the standard Civic hatch, 6 packs. If your friends are jokers, keep in mind the wing is a prank magnet. Type R's visual statement will be a bit too much for some, but it's good to see Honda return to performance after all but abandoning it a few years back. There aren't many cars as thrilling as the Civic Type R at its price point, and 5 minutes behind the wheel will prove that the qualifying statement for a front drive car isn't needed. The US has waited a long time for this fun box. Don't delay any longer. There are a lot of curves to slay out there. Now, the US kind of got the Type R back in 1997, since the Acura Integra Type R was available. Darn, wish Acura would bring names back. I'm not crazy about its model nomenclature. And really, I'm a bit surprised that this didn't also come to America in Acura form and body style with the ILX. The brand could really use an affordable performance halo car. Or maybe there's a budget mid-engine car coming, since there are Honda patent drawings of a mid-engine two-seater floating around, and it has apparently trademarked the name ZSX. But I'm getting off track here. FYI, the Type R's engine is made in Ohio, but the vehicle is welded, bolted, and glued together in the UK, so it has earned a few frequent flyer miles before you take delivery in Muskogee, or wherever you happen to live. Everyone likes behind-the-scenes stuff. When I said the roads were damp, I wasn't kidding. One of my favorite places to shoot is out near North Bend, Washington, and it occasionally gets flooded. This is one of those times. Some of my favorite roads were not accessible, at least to the Type R. This is a handy machine to have in these conditions. The right tool for the right job is important, huh? Before I go, a special thank you to a certain Seattle police officer. Yeah, you can get into a lot of trouble in a car like this, so let me explain. I was on a fairly quiet section of Highway 99 with two awesome car enthusiasts, 9-year-old twins, Zachary and Jacob, explaining to them the virtues of low-end torque. Now, to the outside observer, it might have looked like I was driving, shall we say, erratically. And I look over to my left, and there's an Explorer police cruiser with an officer looking in at me. And I acknowledged him, and he acknowledged me, and the boys giggled, and we went our separate ways. Thank you, officer, for not pulling me over and giving me a ticket. I don't need that. And Zach and Jake, if you're watching this, do your homework, okay? And when you grow up and get your license, drive carefully. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk. Compensating for something, are you?